They can take your world. They can take your heart. Cut you loose from all you know. But if it's your fate, then every step forward will always be a step closer to home.
Sora in Japanese means sky, and Yozora in Japanese means night sky. Yozora comes from the video game Virum Rex, which in English translates to True King, or even according to KH Insider, translates to the story of the True King. Kingdom Hearts fans have been talking about Yozora differently after the Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind episode, when Nomura informed fans that Yozora takes afterthoughts that he had from Final Fantasy Versus 13's version of Noctis, and Noctis, who changed a lot to fit into the story of Final Fantasy 15, but Nomura helped alongside the developers to try to keep it as close to his original story as possible when they changed it to 15, where Noctis was to become the true king prophesied to come. In this video, I will connect Sora and his fate at the end of KH3 and Remind to Yozora's fate, as well as Noctis, to show how similar all three of these characters are to each other. Let's start with Sora and Yozora. After watching Kairi get fragmented into pieces, Sora travels through time to try and collect her pieces. Once he jumps through enough events, he does just this. The only thing is, you can't jump through time, changing major events without a cost.
No, there's no saving you. You've paid the price, and it lies at the bottom of the abyss.
This cost was Sora's soul. In Kingdom Hearts 3, when Sora was defeated, he went to the final world, also referenced as the World of Sky. And after Sora disappeared, in the secret episode of Remind, he travels to a place of Night Sky. On the note of things that disappeared that shouldn't, I'd like to note that 1,800 of you that come to these videos don't subscribe? That's like 1,100 people. Now, if you make me mad, I might have to go tell my mommy, and that would piss her off.
This is his mother speaking. Subscribe to this channel, or I sentence you to
100 Skylar singing happy birthday. Wow, she was mad, wasn't she? You better hit the subscribe button. In this cutscene labeled Yozora, we see Yozora and his mage and shield characters battling the odds of Giga's mechs to save the Nameless Star, Yozora's version of Kairi. Now, this is where the sky versus night sky comparisons start coming in, as both Sora and Yozora lose their special person close to them. That leads them to the fate destiny has in store for them. Also interesting to note, both FF15 Noctis and Versus 13 Noctis also have this special someone. In 15, we see Lunafreya die as well. We don't know what happens to Yozora between his cutscene and the secret episode of KH3, other than
I accidentally wandered into this place and went through some trials.
This place he's talking about is not yet Quadratum and not quite reality. If Sora is here because of Kairi, we can also assume Yozora is here because of the Nameless Star. The only thing we aren't aware of are these trials he speaks of, except that Yozora needs to.
Then, I was told to save Sora.
When Sora loses, the only thing we can gather for sure is that Yozora crystallizes Sora probably the way Xehanort did to Kairi, and takes him with him to save Sora. One last thing to note about Yozora and how he and Sora are similar is the plot description for Virum Rex. Here's the plot description on the back of the box, more conveniently here for you, specifically at the bottom where it says, a journey without a place to return. Obviously, just like Yozora has a part to play in making sure he can find it to his reality, or save the Nameless Star and bring her back with him, the ending of both good and bad endings are vague to leave to the imagination, and leave you with more questions than answers before. Before we draw any conclusions about Sora, let's look to see how Noctis and Yozora are also very similar characters. Noctis is at the very least the inspiration for Yozora. Whether or not Yozora is actually a king, the game that he's from infers that he is, at the very least, the true king. Versus 13/Final Fantasy 15 take place in a more modern world where technology and people are more in sync. We also know this is true for Yozora, as we can see that on the back of his box as well. If you look at Yozora's moveset, this is obvious, and Noctis at the very least still has signs of this being true in his combat moveset as well. By the way, spoilers for 15 are coming up right now. Noctis was a prince who didn't want responsibility, although he did want to get married to Lady Lunafreya. So on the day he was supposed to marry her, this is mid-game, the land the wedding is to take place on is attacked and she is killed. This eventually pushes Noctis to become the king he was meant to be and realizes his destiny was to defeat the true darkness and sacrifices his life for the good of not only his people, but for the world. On Noctis' journey, there are side missions, at least 2, where he is taken away from his world and fights in another to get himself back home. Just like Sora and Yozora, respectively, one of these worlds is a Final Fantasy XIV quest that you can play in that game, and the other takes you to the unknown world with this girl named Sora, who is also taken from her world.
Look, we're in the same boat, so why don't we team up? I'm looking for my friends too.
Working together, they defeat the villain of the world called the Eroder. Once they defeat it, their team up is finished, and they are able to go back to their respective worlds.
I certainly never thought you'd be so sad to say goodbye.
I mean, we've been through a lot together.
The fact that Noctis left his world for another 2 times and returned to his shows the leftover influence of Nomura on 15, as well as Noctis becoming the king he was always meant to be. We can see Yozora is at least a respected member of the Quadratum community in the good ending.
Commander!
The fact that Sora, Yozora, and Noctis have the same abilities to change realities in pursuit of the ones that they love and care for is incredible to me. A lot of people have labeled this as Nomura's revenge, but I think Nomura added this into Kingdom Hearts to add his leftover ideas he never got the chance to make into reality, and thus he will add them into another reality. Unreality even.
Must be a place outside of our reality. Namely, it must be unreality, or fiction.
If anyone has any thoughts, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Thanks for those of you that made it to the end of this video. Again, I ask that you like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it helps me grow and branch out to as many Kingdom Hearts fans like yourselves. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'm Ryder, and I'll see you in the next video.